listening to Ambitious AF, a podcast that will help you level up, find positivity, and put yourself on top right now and every day for the rest of your life. I'm your host, Caroline Lewis, and each week I will bring you a guest or thought that will motivate you to get out of bed every morning with the willingness to succeed. Being ambitious means you are proud of who you are and everything you've accomplished. Only you can make that happen, though. But with the help of this podcast, you will rise to the top. You will find success. You will believe in yourself and manifest happiness. And most importantly, you will become ambitious AF. I know you are eager to begin, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on Ambitious AF. It is Friday when you all are listening to this, which means I have another interview with an ambitious entrepreneur. So soon we will be talking to Justine. She is a mama as well as a life and business coach. So I am so excited to just hear her entrepreneurial journey and any of those fun motivational tips for you all listening, because that's the whole point of these interviews and that's why I love them. So Justine, welcome, and please let everyone know a little bit more about you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me here. It's one of those things that when you get in the power circles, there's so much potential. And I want to say that that's probably the biggest transformation that's happened in my life and business, was really being intentional with where I put myself. So spending time here with you and the other amazing listeners, that's my jam. That's where I'm at. So yes, you guys, my name is Justine Mader. I'm in Minnesota, if my accent didn't give me away already. I'm born and raised. I am currently raising my own two children. I have two boys, so #boymom. Oh. And they're very little, so I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. My 6-month-old is trying to fall asleep in my arms during this episode, so we'll see how that goes. But it's one of those things where my entrepreneur journey really started actually after having children. And so for a lot of people, it's really different. They're like, so what? And so just to give you a little background, I came from a homeschooled family, absolutely loved my education, pursued music, did all sorts of great stuff, and went on to do college while I was still in high school, and got my dental degree and had a job before I even graduated. So I was, successful, according to, to worldly standards or whatever. And I was having a great time living life, and I got married, and we were about to welcome our firstborn son into the world, but I had been in that grind and predicament of needing to work for insurance and, being sick as a dog while being pregnant. And I was pregnant from the beginning to the end. That's just how my body and pregnancy get along, unfortunately. But it was really a good time for character building that way too. Those were definitely character building moments. So I quit my job that I loved. I worked 4 different positions in the dental office that I was in. I love that opportunity to help people enjoy dental care. People still think I'm crazy, but I do try. So I quit that job the day before I had my firstborn son. And that's when I just hit a huge shift in my life, right? I went from a full-time employee, knowing what I was doing, to a whole new world, raising a tiny human, becoming a mom. What does that title mean? Who do I need to be, to God, my husband, and now my child? Just a whole lot. I totally succumbed to depression for a little bit, postpartum depression, whatever you want to call it. It was definitely the dark stage that really caused me to ask myself, what do I want out of this life experience? I get one shot. And I believe that God puts each and every one of us here for a reason. So I'm obviously here for a reason, Lord. But I'm struggling because here I was at a milestone that I had dreamed of, I had achieved, and I had hoped for. And yet I was so down. I was so just beyond myself. I was like, this is just ridiculous. I'm doing all the things right, and yet I feel no fulfillment. And so anyways, to take you back to that journey, I asked myself a really hard question. What makes me happy? And I was like, well, of course, chocolate makes me happy. My husband makes me happy. Of course, my child, when he smiles, makes me happy, but he was a colicky child too. So I was like, that's rare. But it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? One of the happiest moments that my heart ever felt was when I was serving at a dental convention, and I was helping provide dental care for people that couldn't afford it. And every dental professional there was doing the same. Totally free of, many of them were actually donating supplies and donating, things that would actually help this movement happen. And that moment of serving at a level that just because I could, and seeing their, their pain go away, even if it was taking out their teeth or, putting fillings in so they had a smile again. It was one of those things where I was just like, I got to change lives like that again.
Yeah.
I got to change lives like that again. But how can I do that with this little bundle of love in my arms, according to my priorities in the frozen tundra of Minnesota?
Yeah.
And so for those of you that can't see this, I literally had the screwed up face, like, how on earth do I make that work?
Yeah.
And I just started researching. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what the answer was, but it led me to Facebook and seeing everybody had the word entrepreneur in their bio. I was like, what the heck is that even?
Yeah.
Like, and how can they all be the same thing and they do different things? I was so green. I mean, Carolyn, it was so bad. I had no idea what I was doing. But I basically, for you guys listening, I took the steps.
Yeah.
I started.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was going to look like. I started. And I ended up starting a virtual assistant company, got my LLC, made it official, and had a couple of clients. Started very, 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 very slow. Didn't know what I was doing. I started with things that I knew I was good at, organizational, administration tasks. And I'm really good at communication. That is still one of the top services, and speaking, things that I serve people on is communication. So I was like, I'm going to stick to what I know.
Yep.
And I started. And then I ended up being asked to coach. And then I ended up being asked to speak. And then so it was just one of those things where people are like, how on earth did you get here today? Because I took the next opportunity.
Absolutely.
The next door that opened, I went to it. I didn't know which door it was going to be. To this day, there's no reason that I should be where I am today. God has been so gracious to me. But at the same time, it's like, I just looked at every door as an opportunity. And I've been scammed. I've lost money. I've lost clients. I've made big mistakes, you guys. Some of those doors were not the ones to go through. However, I'm able to just like really connect with other people that have been there. I've been able to support clients that have been totally left hanging because they paid their 10 grand and had nothing as a deliverable. And I'm like, oh, hey, I know that feeling that, yeah, that's not happening here. How are we going to change that? What are the results we're going to create? And I've been able to have such a deeper understanding for those moments now because I lived through it. I didn't just go through it. I lived and grew through it. And I think that that's where, for everyone in 2020, my 2020 actually wasn't challenging. Like, yes, it was challenging for coronavirus and all those things, but my 2020 was actually totally different. I had some really crazy health experiences that landed me in the hospital for 30 days at 2 different times. Totally not my problem. One was a kidney infection and the other was an appendix.
Oh, wow.
I just, like, literally, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How
do you do that?
I did. And the appendix was at 28 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
Don't recommend that.
Oh my gosh.
Don't recommend that. And they told me it was pregnancy pain. I was like, y'all be crazy.
Yeah.
And anyways, so I'm not gonna go down that laundry chute. But all this to say, life happens and it's gonna happen, whether it's life or business, right? And so, we actually just had this conversation on Clubhouse too. When things come to disrupt you, distract you, the one thing that we have control over is how we respond, how we react. And I just made that decision, especially after February. And the reason why February was so pivotal for me, you guys, with the kidney infection, I had a fever of 109.3.
Ooh. You were pregnant?
I wasn't in February. Okay. I was pregnant in November when the 6-month-old actually came as a result of all of that. But in February, with the kidney infection, just to make sure I'm keeping this story clear for you guys to follow, my fever was 109.3, and I didn't black out. I didn't have seizures, but I shouldn't be here. Yeah. And I'm grateful to God at this moment, but it's one of those things that now, with that clarity of having been knocking on death's door, I'm like, you know what? It could be a car accident. It could be a fire. It could be anything. No day is guaranteed. So when I'm looking at how I work with my clients, what am I doing with my time, with my children, with my husband, with my faith, with my family, like all of it, I'm like, okay, there's some things that just don't fit in this picture anymore. And so when people ask me to be their life or business coach, so the biggest thing for me is really focusing on the integration of what their definition of success is. I don't care how different it is from mine, but what I care about is that it actually aligns with who you are, what you believe, and where you're actually going. Right. And that's, I think, the 2020 reset, and that's where this story is leading to. The 2020 reset globally was everyone was forced to stop and think and be like, whoa, is this actually what I want to do? And some people 100%. Were like, no. And some people were like, I don't know what to do. Like they didn't know what to think. And so I think that as a globe, as a universe, is one of those things where each and every one of us was asked those questions. And so many people have just been overwhelmed by the depth of what the possibilities could be anymore with technology, with working from home, and, you know, stigma's being broken. And I kind of told this to her before off camera, you know, I'm here to break the stigma. You know, if you got kids on your lap, you do it. If you're, you know, figuring out what times, you know, you work from 4 a.m. till 8 and then from 8 till midnight, I don't care. Like, you do you and honor what it is that you have to do. But if you're delivering the results, I have no reason to micromanage what you're doing. Absolutely. And I think that we have to accept that first. And so that's a huge part of my advocacy in this platform. I believe that it was given to me, and I want to use it to the best of my abilities to support other, especially wives and mothers out there, because I think that they're, you know, so beaten down that, oh, you can't do this because you're already this and that. If you feel led to do this, I think somebody else made that decision if you can or can't. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, especially for women, it's just time that we stop waiting for people to offer us a seat at the table. We need to take a step forward, grab the seat, and do what we were created to do. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I knew that we were going to have a great time on this podcast. Oh my gosh, the title, because everything that you were talking about, I was like, oh, we're going to have a blast. I know. I don't even know where to begin, but like, I mean, even just kind of following up with wives, moms, women in general. It really is like, it is our time to just say no to all of those other things or people or whatever is behind us and just take control and go after. Because just because you're a wife or a mother or a woman, doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean that your life stops, like, especially when you become a mom. I mean, look at you. You are running a business. You're on this podcast. You have your adorable son with you. And, like, hopefully everyone can do that. I mean, he's pretty cute. He is so cute. Totally a gawking session right now. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is the best interview because I get to look at a cute little kid whole session. I love kids. But it's like, I mean, it's crazy because if you think like even 5 years ago, people would be like, you're a mom, what are you doing? Right? It's like if crazy. The kids ran in during a Zoom meeting or something like that. I mean, like, it's just, you know, if we're making, you know, everything that we do, if it's for the future generations. And why not have them a part of it, running along with us? Like, that's, you know, when we look at what history has done so many times, when you think back of when they were plowing the fields and planting, like, the kids were right there. They were. If we're doing this in a digital age, and I'm not telling you to give your kids screen time 1,000%, I am not an advocate for that. But have them understand what you're doing. Absolutely. Have them learn to communicate. Have them learn to execute and be responsible, accountable. Like, all of those life lessons, because otherwise we're not actually supporting the future generation. We're enabling them while we're here, but what the heck are they going to do when we're not? I know. Well, and nowadays, I mean, because of COVID, it opened the doors to so many people very quickly. But then 90% of them probably didn't take any opportunities because even though we like to say, I'm not stuck in my norm, I'm not stuck in my routine, COVID really like came to us and was like, open up world. There are other things outside of what you have going on in your bubble, and I'm going to force you to realize those. And those 10%, or it can be more too, but those 10% of people that took that as an opportunity did start amazing businesses that are still amazing to this day, right? And I know it's a year later, but it's like you're sitting, you just get let off of your job, and they're just kind of looking around like, what am I gonna do? What can I do with my computer, right? And then that just opens a million other doors. So I think for the most part, every entrepreneur I've talked to
who has left their job and or got laid off because of COVID and started a business, luckily online because of technology, they are all so happy and proud, which they should be. But it was always like, I did not think I could do this, but I did it. I just took that first step, like you said. And that's all we have to do. We just have to take that first step. And if you take that second step and you fail, who cares? You got to take the third step. And the fourth step you fails, who cares? Go take the fifth step. Like, you just have to keep taking these steps if your priority is creating that life that you want, that success, right? Because I totally agree with you. Like, success is a million, like, it's different to every single person on this planet.
Absolutely.
And it's
absolutely
no person can look at money the same, lifestyle the same, relationships the same, children the same. Nothing of that. So,
and if we did, it'd be boring. So
embrace
guys,
it. It would actually be like that movie Pleasantville with the black and white movie with Reese Witherspoon, where everything's the same.
No,
I love that movie.
No,
but
it's not happening, you guys. It's not happening. At least what Carolyn and I are here. No, it's not happening. And so, I think that's probably one of the biggest things for me. Like, just seeing, like, everyone's like, oh, you have to be the accountant because that's what you did. But then actually see them like rock a refurnishing business or something like that was that. It's like, oh my gosh, no, nobody else can decide that for you. Like, that for me is just like, I don't know, just like a spark that never dies. Like, it's so amazing. And it's just one of those things that I think if I could leave, a couple other points, completion is the focus, not competition. There's so many people that do the same thing, but they do it their own way.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't know how to describe myself. I settled at coach.
Yep.
Kind of just the way it is.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not the best fit for some people. But I am the change that somebody else needs.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. If that's the same for me, that's the same for you. That's the same for Carolyn. Like, that's the defining factor. And if you don't show up doing what you're supposed to do in your life and business, somebody somewhere someday won't fulfill their purpose because you didn't give them the puzzle piece that they need.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's just that simple, you guys.
Yeah. And I also think, like, you will, especially when you're on this entrepreneurial journey, but even in life, you will spend money that you do not get back, that is not worth it, but you won't know that until you try it, right? I hear that all the time, like, oh, I wasted all this money. Like, yeah, I did too. But instead of beating myself up about it and saying I'm never going to invest in life or business ever again because I lost 30 grand, I say that was a huge lesson. I'm a better person because of it. Who knows about them? That's their own thing. If you just want to keep rolling, but I'm a better person because of it. And because of that, I now know what to look for when I go to invest in life and business.
Exactly. And I think that if we can look at life as lessons or, failures as stepping stones, that just gives us that next opportunity to step higher, to take the next step on the staircase, right? We can't accomplish the full staircase, but we can step by step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the whole, so I started this podcast, I don't even know at this point, April of 2019, 2020, something like that. And I think 2020, because it's been a little over a year. And I remember, once again, I had no idea. I didn't even listen to podcasts at the time. My sisters were the ones that were like, you should start listening to podcasts. And then with my whole journey, like my mom passing and stuff like that, I found amazing podcasters that literally shaped my life moving forward. So I was like, oh, maybe I can do that towards others. I had no idea, like literally no idea. And my intro and outro is on my podcast now is still the originals. Like, I know now I can probably like edit it, update it, whatever, but it's still the originals. Like, it's little things like that, and people are always like, how can you podcast? How can you put yourself out there? And it's like, if it's not right for you, don't do it. But honestly, if you're thinking, if there's this little gut feeling that's like, I think I want to do it, just try it, right? Who cares? I don't even care if I got like millions of bad reviews. As long as their reviews are giving me feedback, I would change something, right? That's feedback. You don't take these things as like, making or breaking your whole life, right? So you just gotta get going and try.
And the thing is too, is that, I'm actually been a moderator for Dean Graziosi, Jamie Kern-Lima, and a couple other big names for a little bit. And it's one of those things that, for every single rotten apple, there's 5 dozen that had their lives changed. And the rotten apple probably needed it the most, but wasn't ready to receive it. And so, even in those moments of feedback where you can listen and, take tactical advice or be like, oh, it was blurry or oh, maybe I repeated a couple questions or whatever they're picking apart.
Right.
They're just desperate to put it on you and make it look like it's you when they see themselves in the mirror. And it's just one of those things where, like, I think people, if they could be able to embrace that, like, I know you know that, but like, if you guys listening, like, if you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I stopped writing my blog, or that's why I stopped my show, or that's why I stopped singing on YouTube, or that's why I stopped my TikToks because I couldn't dance like the other people that dance or whatever. Like, just to get out of that funk, if you will, and just realize that if it's something that fuels your soul and blesses even just one person, it's so worth it.
Exactly.
It's so worth it.
Yeah, I was talking about a girl, and she has 30, 40 some thousand followers, and she gets, nasty comments all the time, and she's a huge self-image, body love type of coach. And she gets these like comments, when she posts real raw images, right? And she, everyone, you're always going to get these bad ones. And I was talking to her and I was like, for every 100 of horrible comments you get, you are changing one person's life. Like changing, like completely changing, right? There's at least one, right? And I'm sure there's more than that, but like there's one person that woke up today, saw your feed and was like, oh my gosh. And that was their click, right? And that like gives me goosebumps. Like if I could just change one person that listens to this show or finds me on Instagram or wherever it is, and it's like, I needed to hear this, thank you so much. I don't care about anything else. It's like the best feeling in the world.
If you guys enjoy a show, whether it's Carolyn's show, anybody else's show, never hesitate the power of telling them that you appreciate it.
Very true.
Like, we're all human. We might be, different colors of the rainbow, but we all have hearts that need to be, feel appreciated, feel validated at least one time or another. And that goes so much further than you think it does.
Yes.
And crazy enough, I've actually had some influencers actually comment back. I know it's not the bot because it's actually them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you never know who you could reach or how much they need to hear it today. Because guess what? They're just as human as you are.
Absolutely.
They're just as human as I am. And that's a way that we can give back love to everyone that's hurting right now too. And it's free. Guys, it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love you saying that because, normally we see like more negative comments than positive ones, right? And the best way to continue to support anyone, and we all need support. Like, don't even think like freaking Tony Robbins, like he still needs support. Best way is just say something nice, right?
Yeah. It's just crazy too, because, even working with Dean too, like, there's times where he's just like, am I doing enough?
Wow.
With my platform. Am I doing enough? Like, I remember him posting that in one of the team chats a while ago, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That just, wow. I didn't have words to put to it. Like, when we think of what responsibility we have as a business owner, as anyone with a platform, influencer, it's just amazing how quick we can turn the ripples into waves. But let's be a force for good. Let's be a force for positivity, for love, support, and completion, not competition.
Absolutely. And if you are ever just sitting there and saying no to yourself, no, I can't launch that book. No, I can't post this. No, I can't talk about this. No, I can't sing. Don't ever just do it. If you know you're meant to do it, just do it. Because who cares about all the negativity? Because you will get positive results from it because you're putting it out there. So energetically wise, you're going to attract it back in, but then you're going to impact other lives. So just don't worry about what anyone else says. And unfortunately with social media, we're always concerned with what everyone else says between social media and the news. But it's really like, that's the one time you should be coming back into your bubble. And that bubble is self-respect, right? Self-love, self-respect.
Absolutely.
And you need to come into this bubble every single day.
Yep, and you have to make sure that cup is full every single day. It's not on the weekends. It's and that's one of the biggest things that each and every one of us has to hold each other accountable to, because it's very easy to make sure that your people are being cared for. As a mom, as a supporter, as a leader, you're like, what about my team? In order for us to make the impact that we are called to make, regardless of where we find ourselves in life or business, we have to make sure that we're actually getting the oxygen we need to breathe.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of like start wrapping this up, especially all the moms, right? Because that's hard. I'm not a mom yet. I have a niece, so I'm an aunt. I love aunt life.
I love that. Best aunt ever, right? Yep, claiming that pride.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm loving aunt life. But I mean, I see my sister. We live very close to each other, and mom life, it's like a whole different world, right? So just those like last bit motivational pieces that you have, especially for moms, because I feel like moms are always struggling, but you don't have to be. It's hard though, and you need that praise all the time because it's so hard.
More than praise, we need the grace. And so I would just say to any mother listening right now, wherever you find yourself, you are not defined by what the world says. You will never win according to the world standards. And I will, elaborate on that just really quickly, because I do have another interview to get to. But you guys, if you work from home, you're a bad mom. If you don't work, you're a bad mom. If you don't go take your kids to soccer, guess what? You're a bad mom. You will never win. So don't ever expect to win on their standards.
Absolutely.
And that's why each and every one of you mamas listening, give yourselves 3 points that define your successful life. What does that look like in your, whether it's your spiritual life, physical life, and emotional life? What are those 3 definitions of success? How can you start having those come real today, not tomorrow, today? And you judge yourself. You be the own judge. Don't wait for other people to judge you. You already judged yourself. If they want to put in their opinion, they can put it in the ballot box and you can burn it. That's my opinion. I just hope that sets you free. Because it took me doing that for myself.
I bet. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and opening up with that too. Because there's someone that definitely needed to hear that, and they will be listening to that. So, and of course, if that is you, please let us know. Just reach out to Justine. And
let us know if you're burning that box.
Yeah, if you are, especially if you're burning that box. So where's the best place for people to reach out to you?
I would love for you to come hang out on Instagram, because that's kind of the main hub for everything else that's going on. So you'll find me at Justine Mader HQ.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Justine, for coming on. I know
my
this
hands
episode
are tied. Otherwise, I'd make the heart shape, but I'm just fell asleep, so I would do that. I'm so sorry, guys, but I only have 2 hands. So yes. Anyways.
Thank you. This episode will definitely change lives. So. Thank you, and I look forward to connecting further. And of course, everyone else listening, thank you for coming on. Please reach out to Justine. Literally just say, I listened to your episode. Thanks for changing my life. And then, of course, if you want...
Definitely tell me that you're one of Carolyn's friends.
Yeah. There you go.
I love knowing where people come from, so that would be amazing.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. I will talk to you all next week, and have an amazing rest of the day. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you got some value or just feel fired up, I would love for you to take a screenshot and tag me in your Instagram stories. It's always so motivating to see you getting the inspiration you needed to level up for my podcast. I'm going to keep showing up and bringing my best self to these episodes, and I encourage you to do the same. If you think a friend or family member would enjoy this episode, I would love for you to share the ambition. I can't wait to chat next week, but until then, keep being ambitious AF.